Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed, and I'm here with...
Bye, Felici. Hey, everyone.
Fresh and Fit have been trending on Instagram and Twitter. Now, the reason they've been trending is recently they had a special guest appear on their platform by the name of Asian Doll. Now, she's a rapper, American rapper, right? I happen to be a fan, man. I actually have her in one of my female rapper playlists, so I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. You know what I mean? So shout out to Asian Doll for going on the Fresh and Fit podcast. But we got to talk about some stuff here because things got heated. This was a huge surprise to me personally, right? I didn't expect them to pop up on my feed, especially didn't expect the Shade Room to mention them in some recent posts. And they actually made about like 4 posts about this situation. I'm going to read the caption real quick. Felici, have you seen these posts at all?
I did. I have been checking them out throughout the day, and I did see them. Okay. All right.
I'm going to read them. Then we'll talk about them. Okay?
Okay.
The first caption for the first post is her basically talking about how she had to stay calm on the podcast. The Shade Room captioned the post saying, Asian Doll recently got into a very heated exchange. And yeah, man, he got heated while on a podcast, but she managed to keep her cool despite things going all the way left. And they tagged at Fresh and Fit podcast. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. Guys, we're really going to get into we got some stuff to talk about today, right? I'm going to play this video. But first, I want to read her Twitter post, which they shared, which went along with this video.
I have them all right here. I can go ahead and read them if you want me to.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the Twitter post, Asian Doll says, I was so calm yesterday because I knew what he was trying to do. Mr. Freddy Krueger was finna get beat down. Hold on.
What's so funny? The Freddy Krueger reference?
I don't normally talk like this, so it's kind of hard to read this how she talks. So
Okay.
I'm going to do my best.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Freddy Krueger was finna get beat down Elm Street off camera. I'm thankful for the growth and self-control, and I'm happy I defended another black woman because he was treating her so bad.
I just got to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Notice how she brought the whole black woman thing into this situation. I don't want to make that like a focal point of this conversation, but I just want you guys to notice how, she wanted to gain the support of black women everywhere. Now, I'm going to actually play the video that was shared along with this Twitter post on the Shade Room. Here we go.
Guys, sidebar conversations, please.
All right. What about
I've told you, this is like, this is like the 5th time I've told you that, right?
Yes.
6th time.
Like, stop. For real, like, stop.
Hey, mean.
I'll just keep it real, man. Like, you haven't been here. So
Yeah, it's the whole show. Come on.
yeah, she's been doing it the whole show. I'm not mean. It's simple.
All right, go ahead. It's podcast.
Damn.
What I look for in a man in the club, torching me.
Hold on. Excuse me?
You mean.
I'm not mean at all.
Okay, I don't care.
Have you been here the whole time?
No.
All right, then. So you don't know what was
I
happening,
don't
right?
give
Then. So how you going to come on somebody's show, not know what go down, and say, oh, you're mean?
It don't matter.
Okay, well, you can get off the show.
Chill out,
Listen,
bro.
don't do my like
Nah, you can go.
Chill. She ain't
You're
gotta
not
go.
going to come on the platform.
Nah, chill, bro. She ain't gotta go nowhere.
No, she
chill.
could go.
Chill.
We could all be.
Bro.
Let's come.
He's hot. I'm calm.
All right, so you guys heard it for yourself. Some words got exchanged. Things got heated. Real quick, man, I want to point out how she was ready for that smoke with Myron, right off the bat. But before we address that post, I'm going to go ahead and share the second post shared by the Shade Room, which read, Asian Doll responds to Fresh and Fit podcast host Myron Gaines after his explanation of their verbal exchange. So she said, I didn't call you a mean A nigga. Why would I do that? And you not even black. Hold up. What? Okay, she's got the laughing emoji. So she just told Myron that he's not black. Guys, if you're rolling your eyes right now and thinking like, oh,
He isn't black though, right?
Felici, look at my man Myron.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
She goes on to say, you're mad because you thought you had a viral moment by being disrespectful to black females all the time, and the internet just flipped the script on your whack A word, because I'm not going to, get my channel demonetized. You shouldn't have even posted that clip. It's your own fault. You're getting dragged, with the clown emoji, calling Myron Gaines a clown. The post goes on to say, what'd you say?
He is.
He is what?
Like him.
He's what?
A clown. I do not like Myron. Go
Okay.
ahead.
We're going to get back to that. We're going to get back to that.
We're gonna talk about
All
that.
right. So the post goes on to say, and you lied when I left and said you don't know who I am. Laugh out loud. That was cool. The world just showed you who the F I am, with the, proud emoji and the 100 sign. And she tagged Unplug Fit. She tagged Myron Gaines and said, you a clown that hate black women. Now, I don't want to talk about this. Why? Because the Shade Room shared a third post that we're going to kind of get into here. This is Myron actually coming to defense of his actions on the actual podcast. So he shared something on his story, right, on his Instagram story, which it looks like censored by Instagram's algorithm, and they removed it. It said your story has been removed. So he was addressing the situation, and then he addressed that and said, this is why the Fresh and Fit podcast is crucial for men. Laugh out loud. I can't even tell the truth without getting reported. So he shared something and got reported. He goes on to say, here are the facts. She came late. She called me mean. I explained the context under which I was addressing the other girl, not Asian doll. I had warned her multiple times prior to stop having side conversations as it hurts the quality of the show. Asian doll continued to argue and used explicitives when it was obvious she was incorrect. She claims to be defending women, in quotation marks, at the Shade Room. No, Myron says, you're defending your own ego for being grossly incorrect about a situation you have no knowledge of. The last thing he said in that post is, this is how mainstream media tries to paint a false narrative. Anyone that watches the whole podcast will see the blatant disrespect. Take notes, gentlemen. And so, of course, people had things to say about this whole situation on the Shade Room. But before I get into these comments, Felicie, what do you think of this situation so far? Just so far what I've talked about.
Okay, so far, I think, going over everything that we've read here, I think Asian Doll came onto the podcast with already kind of an idea of who Fit was.
Okay.
Everybody kind of knows that the Fresh and Fit podcast, it kind of doesn't paint black women in the best light. So I think she came onto the scene already ready to tussle. She was ready to tussle.
So let me ask you this. Why is this a black woman thing?
I don't think this is a black woman. I think she made it a black woman thing.
Okay.
I don't think this is.
Because they mostly have non-black women on the podcast.
They do mostly have non-black women on the podcast. However, when they do bring a black woman onto the podcast, she is a stereotypical black woman.
Okay.
And that's what I don't like about the podcast. They don't really bring, it's rare that they bring a black woman that is a dark-skinned black woman that is classy. It's really rare that they bring, yes, they don't have a lot of black women that come on their podcast. However, when they do have a black woman that comes on, she isn't she's kind of the stereotypical black woman, the ones that they kind of want to stay, quote unquote, stay away from, or whatever the case may be. It's very rare that they bring
What type is that?
If the fourth post that the Shade Room posted was of Myron and Fresh talking about, quote unquote, Shaniquas and
I'm gonna get into that later on.
Yeah, those kind of girls. And so they kind of bring those stereotypical.
But when you say
black
those
women
kind of girls, those are just names. And when you say
those are just names.
stereotypical type,
those are just names. However,
hear me for a second. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm not trying to cut you off. I just want to clarify something. I just want to clarify the question I'm actually asking for. I need you to give me attributes of the type of person, because if you just say Shaniqua and the Shaniquas and the stereotypical type.
Right. I was gonna explain that.
All right, my bad. Go ahead.
So when social media not social media, just media in general. When you think of the name Shaniqua, you think of ghetto, loud, just very boisterous attitude, da 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 da. You know what I mean? When you think of those type of names like Shaniqua or Shanae's or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they said those names, because that's the stereotypical media portrayal of Black women. And those are, I think, for whenever I see the Fresh and Fit podcast, they don't really bring on women that have a good head on their shoulders, who are classy, like most Black women. They bring the stereotypical.
I'm going to play
one.
devil's advocate here. And guys, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm also going to talk about my disagreements with this whole situation too, right? This might be surprising to a lot of people because I rarely address any type of heated situations within the manosphere. But that's a part of this new podcast that I'm doing, is I want to talk about situations that I normally wouldn't. So here's my thing. I think they bring a certain type of women because that's just a part of their brand. For example, I think they are the Hugh Hefner or the Dan Bilzerian version of podcasting, right? Which is why they have the nightlife girls, they have the strippers, they have the women who are on OnlyFans, and women who are proudly night workers, right? Women who who are proudly selling box for money. I think that's their actual target. And that's why they bring those type of women on there.
Okay.
Does that change your perception at all if knowing that?
My perception of the podcast itself?
Well, I just mean like specifically knowing that they only bring a certain type of women. Because here's the thing, like,
Yeah, I guess that would, change it a bit. It would change it a bit. Now, I don't want people to think that I am siding with the young lady that was interrupting an Asian doll. I actually, when I first saw this, I was just like, how many times do they have to tell you to stop having side conversations? That's kind of just normal. Like, be quiet. It's not your turn to talk. Listen to instructions. Wait your turn. Why can't you be quiet? No, I actually agreed with the fact that they were saying, hey, you need to shut it down. This is a podcast. This is a professional podcast. We're doing something here.
yeah.
I do agree with that. Do I agree that Asian doll made it a Black woman thing? No, I don't. But do I think that they pick on Black women? Just a bit.
Okay, so just to clarify a few things, like you said, you actually realized that she was interrupting in the actual podcast. Before we talk about that more, I want to actually play something I put together here, because I actually watched the whole 2 hours and 19 minutes of the whole podcast before addressing this, which I know a lot of people aren't going to do that, right? We live in this TLDR generation, which is basically an acronym for like too long, didn't read, of people who really have like short attention spans, and they don't want to read a full article, right? They don't want to get the actual full story. People read headlines. We know this.
Yeah.
We know this in the YouTube space especially, which is why those are the most important to get clicks and videos. So guys, this is a more like balanced look at this whole situation. So if you want more people to see this video, make sure you hit that like button. I'm actually going to play the number of times that the chick in the podcast actually interrupted. So right now we're dealing with before Asian Doll came onto the podcast because she was late. She wasn't there in the very beginning. That's one of the things that Myron mentioned in his rebuttal to the whole situation. She was actually late. So right now I'm actually going to play the number of times the woman who Asian Doll was defending, right? The Black woman who she thought was a victim of the show. The number of times she was effing up in the show and actually interrupted the whole show. All right, so starting with interruption number 1.
Let's so we got guys, no side conversations, please. No, well,
It was my fault. It wasn't
because
even his fault.
they're the ones talking to you, man. So it's like
It's not my fault.
you gotta get a girl. Yes or no?
I'm talking to every woman, not just for myself.
Please stop. Please
Number
stop with the
2.
sidebar conversations. All right. Yes or no? So how would you do it?
Number 3.
Guys,
Stop
stop.
shouting at me
Stop.
for numbers.
One at a time.
Stop, man. One mic at a time. I've said it like a million times. Okay. I followed myself. So
Because I'll go on. So you
Oh,
can,
so you're gonna
you
look
can,
at your
you can
list?
arrange a day. Let me know if you want to get
Guys,
another
guys,
coffee
seriously?
tomorrow.
stop, man. Damn, bro.
It's not Barbie's
Y'all been
fault.
doing it the whole time. Just stop,
No, it's
bro.
not her fault.
So 4 so far. 5 is when Asian Doll actually comes into the podcast, which is literally 2 hours into a podcast. They're already 2 hours into the podcast, and it didn't even go more than an hour after that. So she came at the tail end of the podcast, and here we go.
It's not her fault. I promise.
Girl,
it's
stop.
Stop, man. It's
Like,
simple shit.
hey, chill out, relax.
The audience can hear you guys as you whisper on the mics. You were too thirsty.
We got in the building.
Okay, I'll be too thirsty.
Special guest. Just came through. Show the Asian doll. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
One thing I want to mention too, for everybody that's watching right now is, as a creator, a lot of people don't understand how these productions actually work. So Myron is saying, hey, be careful and do not talk and have side conversations. Why? Because there are mics in front of you. They stream on not only YouTube, but they also stream on Spotify and other platforms where it's just like a voice podcast, like the podcast you're watching right now. So it matters when they hear like chatter in the background. And so
Yeah.
if you're having a conversation next to the mic, I'm trying to give you guys an idea of why he's saying this. Is after the podcast, he probably goes back, listens to podcasts and says, okay, so people can't be talking at once because it would take away from the conversation. It's one channel, right? They're not going to edit 6-10 women, in different channels. It's one channel and it's going to pick up everything. So you have to respect the fact that someone is talking, especially when he says, hey, keep the conversations at a minimum, because you're going to hear it in the final version of the actual podcast.
Right.
Just some technical stuff. And I know you understand that, Felicie,
100%.
to a certain extent. Moving on. Here we go.
I understand.
I gotta put these on.
Yeah.
For sure.
So she puts on the headphones.
With those
All right.
people,
No, it was her turn to go.
you get to know like what love feels. 'Cause,
Guys,
like, those people you
guys.
don't get along with at all.
Sidebar conversations, please.
Number
I've told
5.
you this is this is like the 5th time I've told you that, right?
Six time.
Like, stop. For real, like, stop.
He mean.
I'll just keep it real.
So Asian Doll says he's mean as F. She just got there, right? She just got there right off the bat. He's mean as F. Let's go.
And,
No,
like,
but
you
he's
haven't been here,
cool.
so
I
you
don't
haven't
give a
seen
fuck
it.
about none of that shit.
Yeah, it's the whole show. Come on.
Yeah, she's been doing it the whole show. I'm not mean. I just have rules. Simple.
All right, go ahead.
It's podcast.
Damn.
What I look for in a man in a
me.
club, that's like approaching me.
All right. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but she wouldn't let it go. And she said, you're a mean nigga. Now, just to shed some light, Felicia, I just want to say this, man. The other girl, when he told her to stop, he didn't kick her out because she wasn't combative. Right? She just kind of just said, okay, I'm okay, good. I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
And he understood there's drinks on the table. People are drinking, man. People, you
Yeah.
know, act rowdy, and he understands. But she was being more combative than probably any other girl there as soon as she got there.
No, I agree.
Moving on.
Hold on. Excuse me?
You mean.
I'm not mean at all.
Okay, I don't care.
Have you been here the whole time?
No.
All right, then. So you don't know what was
I
happening,
don't
right?
give a
Okay, then. So how you going to come on somebody's show?
Damn.
I don't give a
Straight up. Straight up, Asian Doll. Hey, I'm a fan, bro. Straight up. Call me whatever the hell you want. I remember last time I said I was a fan of Summer Walker. People were like, okay, fanboy. Yeah, I'm a fan of Asian Doll. My favorite song, I'll tell you right now. Grandson, Asian Doll. It's at the top of my my female rapper playlist. I enjoy the female rappers.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
think I've ever heard a single one of her songs.
No?
No.
You see? You're slacking, man. You sleep. She's a great artist. Go check her out. Stream her on Spotify. Also stream me, Chisha Zed. I got more music coming too. But
Let's go.
check her out, man. She's a talented artist, honestly. You know? My own let's watch the rest of this. Let's watch the rest of this.
Okay.
Not know what go down and say, oh, you're mean.
It don't matter. I can say what I want.
Okay, well, you can get
Fuck
the show, too.
I don't give a
Chill, man. Chill out, bro.
Listen, don't do me like
Nah,
that.
you can go.
No,
Just
Chill,
go.
chill. She ain't
You're
gotta
not going to come on the platform disrespectful.
Nah, chill, bro. She ain't gotta go nowhere.
No, she
chill.
could go.
Chill, bro.
I don't have to.
Chill.
Come on, baby. We don't have to be this mean.
give
We
a
can all
fuck.
be.
Listen.
Come on.
Chill out, bro.
Let's calm
I'm
down.
sorry.
He's hot. I'm calm.
No, I'm
good.
very calm, but it's like, bro, you got to show a little bit of
Okay,
respect
bro,
on the
it
platform.
It's
is
cool,
respect.
bro.
You talking about
Chill.
shit. I say you mean. It is what it is. What the you want me to say?
That's not the truth,
Mean.
though.
You mad about I said mean? You grown as hell.
So tensions are high. What do you think so far, Felicie?
I mean, honestly, I think Asian Doll was a little bit in the wrong, and I know a lot of people gonna come for me talking about saying, "Oh, you're on Myron's side." No, let me be straight up with y'all.
I know you don't really like Myron.
I do not like Myron. I do. It's not that I don't really like him. I don't like that nigga. I don't like Myron. Absolutely not. But I'm gonna respect him as a podcaster because that's what I do. When someone comes onto your platform and you are controlling, what's going on, and they come in 2 hours late and they don't know what's happening from before, and they start assuming stuff and starts to get disrespectful, that's where I have the issue. She didn't know what was happening, and I get that she was trying to, defend, because to her, she just got there and Myron's just like, yo, I told you to be quiet. To her, it's just like, whoa, chill out, bro. Like, what's going on?
Lack of context.
But, there was no context for her. And she was just like, well, and maybe she started to feel like, oh, maybe I messed up. But she's like, nah, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to defend her.
Because of that, let's be honest here, because of that sisterhood thing.
Yeah,
There's some sisterhood there
absolutely.
going on. It's like
how, and I totally understand that. But, both women unfortunately were not doing what they're supposed to do as guests. Do I like Myron? Hell no.
I know you don't.
Do I think that he hates black women? Hell yes, I do.
Okay.
However,
Come on.
However, do I think that Asian Doll was a little too aggressive? Absolutely. She wasn't right for what she did.
Hate.
And
Felicie?
the other young lady needed to be quiet.
Hate though. Hate.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's check out that
Okay,
other.
yeah. We're gonna get to that. Let's watch the rest of this. Mercy.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So earlier on the show, we went back and forth. So he was just telling her to chill because it was like 5 times he told her to like chill.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Okay, but I said he mean. Why he want to stop the shit?
I don't know if you guys caught that. Myron looked at Walt and said, Walt, by the way, is fresh. He looked at him and said, Walt. And the reason why he did that is because Walt, he's the guy, like, people don't realize this, but Fresh is really good at networking. He's the reason why people like Kodak Black were on the show, and like other celebrities like Blackson and comedians and different people, academics. You know what I mean? That's his thing, is the networking thing. So I think he looked at him like, yo, who's this chick that you brought? Because it could be, I don't know this for sure, but it could be that Myron doesn't know who she actually is. It could be, not everyone listens to her music. You said you've never heard her music.
I've never heard. I know who she is. I just never heard her music.
Did you recognize her with just looking at her? Would you have known?
Yes, I would have known who she is. Absolutely. Okay. And the reason why he probably doesn't know who she is because she's black. And he don't like black girls.
Oh my gosh. We're going to get to that. All right, let's keep watching.
Because you don't know what was going on.
We are on the show.
It's good though, bro.
Why would
Yo.
that piss you off?
Chill, bro. It's all right. We all right. We good.
He want a moment. Get it slow.
We good. Let's keep going, bro. We all
I
right.
want to leave.
Let's keep in the debate.
Don't
You
leave,
got it.
please.
I won't.
Please.
Okay, just like from here on out, like please,
on his
one
ass,
at a
he's
time
tripping.
because we're going to the show
we'll
right now.
start
Okay?
it over. I promise I won't say nothing. I promise.
This is the 5th time.
Okay.
You said that last time.
Yes.
You see, Asian Doll says, I'm on his A. He's tripping. Right? You can't be on someone's A when it's not your podcast that you're running, right? You can't be that confrontational.
Yeah.
All right? I'm just saying, man. I'm just trying to.
Again, I think she really did come onto the podcast with already a perception of how it was going to go.
So you think she was ready for the smoke, and she was kind of like planning?
Oh, she was ready to tussle by the time she got there. She was not playing no games with Myron. She was like, oh, the moment he starts talking crazy, I'm on it.
Okay, got you. Let's finish up this video.
All right.
Okay. Let's start it over. Okay.
So
I need one. Venmo me or send it to me via Uber Eats. Thanks. Bye.
we got Dixie Normus.
Thank you.
$10 says, girl, 2 from Myron is fresh, Okay.
So Asian Doll's leaving the podcast.
DJ says, Dan, when Asian Doll sat down, she made all other girls look busted.
She walks out.
All right, later.
So, Felici, after getting some context about the situation, what do you think?
Same thing. They were in the wrong. Because I understand what was going on this podcast. They're trying to do a show. They kept getting interrupted. They're 2 hours in. They're probably exhausted. They're ready to go home. They would just want to get this shit done. Shorty needed to be quiet. Be quiet. Like, even if this wasn't a podcast, stop talking. Be quiet. And then Asian
He showed
Doll
her some
came in.
mercy, man. He showed her some mercy. I've seen Myron
did.
kick people out for less.
You know what? Yeah, hell yeah, I've seen it too. You know, let me get this straight. Let me let y'all get. I'm just put this straight. I don't like Myron. I don't like the way he talks to people.
I know
However,
you don't. Hey, I'm shocked. I didn't actually expect you to actually say any of this.
He was a bit nicer. He was just like, yo, be quiet. Like, I don't know how many times I got to tell you this. Like, be quiet. Normally he would have kicked the girl off. Normally he would have kicked her off, and Shorty needed to be quiet. 100%. Asian Doll came in, I think, with the perception of how it was going to go, and she was ready to tussle. She was ready for the smoke. She was ready to fire on it, like she said she was on it. And I think that's what she came in with, the perception. She probably has seen the show before. She's probably has heard of this podcast, and she was just like, oh yeah, we know that he don't like black women. We know that they don't like black women. I'm about to come in here and defend any black woman that they disrespect. That's how she probably came on. And, you know, I get it.
Don't
I
like
get it.
black
I get
women.
it.
Or they don't date black women.
Well, okay, from the things that I've seen, they don't date black women. And that's okay. You know, black women are for everyone.
And listen,
you don't have to date black women to, like them. However, I will say that I can't say that the interactions that they've had with black women is terrible. I've seen a few of their podcasts. They don't have terrible interactions with black women, so I can't say that they don't like.
But when
black
it's bad,
women.
it's bad.
But when it's bad, it's bad.
I'll say this.
And it does make it seem as though they have sort of a prejudice towards black women.
I'll say this. And I'm about to say some controversial stuff later on in this podcast. So keep watching, guys. Here's one thing a lot of people don't think about. Majority of people, and Felicia, you know this, right? Majority of people in this world have never, ever heard the type of information that comes from like the manosphere. They're blue pill. They don't get it. And so the Shade Room, and I just want to make this clear, is coming from a platform that's very gynocentric, female focused, right? That's why Myron's post when he shared it on his story was removed. Why? Because whatever is right for women is allowed, and whatever in any way makes women feel uncomfortable on platforms where they're gynocentric focused, woman focused, right? Female empowerment focused, they don't allow. And so most people that hear Fresh and Fit, especially for the first time, and I think a lot of people today heard Fresh and Fit for the first time just by that post from the Shade Room, they get this perception of like, look at these terrible men. And they don't understand that podcasts like this exist on YouTube. Why? Because it's the only place where men could really go speak honestly about situations. A lot of people don't put themselves in content creators' shoes. For example, I want you to imagine that you're dealing with 10 women from Miami. Felici, you're from Miami.
Yeah, I am.
So don't you see? I didn't hear you talk about it. You're trying to hide.
No,
Okay?
I'm not. I will
We're gonna-
never hide that I'm from Miami.
Okay.
That is my home.
Rep it now.
That is
but,
my
but
home.
you also know how it is.
I do.
And do you think there's more of the more like party girl, nightlife type woman, or the more women who are more classy and kind of sophisticated? What do you think are the majority?
Man, you ain't gonna make me talk about my city. Shit.
I'm just saying.
You know, I'm from the suburbs. I'll say that. I'm from Broward. I was raised. I was, I lived in Miami for a good number of years, and then I moved to Broward. So I'm and I lived in the suburb in both areas. However, if you think about South Miami and South Beach and the type of women that run in that area, not only black, but even white, Hispanic. They're very, very loud. We got an attitude. We have personality. We're big. We don't quiet ourselves down for anyone. We don't, that's not when I first
would you
came
say
to
the
California,
type of woman that a masculine man would not get along with?
See, this is the problem.
I'm
East
talking about
Coast
RP men.
West Coast are a little bit different.
Just be honest. Give an honest answer.
Again, West Coast and East Coast men are a little bit different.
The majority.
Majority.
Of black women.
They're
Black women in specific.
Not necessarily. However, there are different personalities in the red pill community that can deal with certain personalities.
So
with
you're
black
saying,
women.
see,
But
no, you're
hold on,
you're
hold
no,
on,
no, I'm not gonna let
hold
you.
on,
I'm
hold
not.
on.
No.
Let me finish.
No.
Wait,
Felicia,
Keisha,
I'm
Keisha,
no.
don't do this. Don't do this.
Give me a straight answer. Do you think most RP aware men, right, would get along with the majority of women in Miami? You can answer it later, but I need an answer for that, like directly. I need a direct answer for that.
What I said was not necessarily. I said no.
Okay, no.
However, what I also said was that there are different personalities in the red pill community that might be able to deal with someone who's a little bit more fiery. That's what I was trying to say before you interrupted me.
But the majority of men in the RP community, I'm saying, is it a surprise that Myron and Fresh bring women from Miami and they kind of just clash? Especially considering like the type of...
Yeah.
It's surprising or it makes sense?
Oh, sorry. It's not surprising that they clash. Sorry.
Okay.
It's not surprising that they clash. It's not surprising that they clash.
Here's my point. Here's my main point I want to make here. A lot of people never put themselves in the shoes of someone like myself or Myron, or Kevin Samuels. And the reason I'm being Kevin Samuels into this is because he's an example of somebody who talks to women constantly, right? I know there's some beef between, the both. I'm not trying to get into that. Listen, I'm a supporter of both platforms overall, but a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to run an actual platform where you're dealing with different types of personalities. You may think that you can do it well. Now, I'm not defending them here. I'm actually saying, imagine this was you, right? Night after night, you brought 8 girls who were really more of like the nightlife type and like, women who weren't classy, women who kind of said whatever came to their mind, right? More fiery, like you said it. I would expect that like situations would come up. A lot of people don't realize how difficult that is to get people like that in line. It's hard enough getting people who aren't that way, right? Who are less fiery. But if you get these different types of personalities, especially considering their background, you kind of have to have like a militant personality. And I know Myron has a law enforcement background, so it makes sense his approach to the situations. A lot of people think that they can do better, but who else? What other platforms are out here having these type of conversations that the Fresh and Fit podcast are having with women on public platforms live? Who else is doing that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Who else is doing that?
Not the way that they're doing it. No one else.
I'll say the person that gets the closest is Kevin Samuels.
It's Kevin Samuels, yeah.
And again, people say kind of the same things about him.
Yeah.
But
see the difference between not really the difference. They bring guests on. And when you bring a guest on to your podcast, that guest is supposed to act like a guest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't come on someone's podcast and start arguing with them. You know what I'm saying?
You can
However,
argue,
if
but it
it's
just
a-
you can't say things like, "Oh, I can say whatever I want." It's like, nah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So I do understand how it can get very much out of control. And when they try to rein it in, it seems as if they're being extremely rude, you know? I can see that. I can see that. I can see that.
Most people overestimate their ability of tolerance for people. They think that they can run a podcast like that with multiple personalities, multiple women who are strippers, who are used to high intense conflict situations, and they think that they could put those people in check. Most of you can't. Guys, I do this, right? I've done this on my platform, but I haven't done it with multiple women. I haven't brought multiple women on my channel. I brought like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. You can go check. And it gets heated. I can't imagine what it's like to bring multiple women and at the same time have them kind of sipping and have it be live. I'm just trying to give people a perspective of what's really going on in that type of situation.
Just even 2 or 3 women, just women, having like even 3, 4 of them in just one room and trying to get everybody to talk about the same thing at once and everybody listen to one person is probably the hardest thing ever. Dear Lord, it's hard. This is coming from a woman. It's hard. So to have 6 girls and you're trying to control that, I understand. I do understand. I do.
Yeah. Just a food for thought, man. It's just not as easy as you think to actually run these podcasts. Not to mention, those women are blue pilled, right? You're RP aware to an extent that you understand, like, women who they bring on the podcast don't really understand things to the extent that you do. Because you've been in this space for a while. So when they hear crazy stuff, they're like, oh my gosh, what? I have to work. I have to be feminine. I have to be nurturing. They're shocked.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, guys usually give me what I want. Especially if they're young, like it's a shock to a lot of them. And so dealing with that type of personalities and their introduction to that type of information, you can understand why situations may come up. But I want to play this last video here that was posted by the Shade Room. They said, the host of the Fresh and Fit podcast might catch some heat for this one. Roommates, it appears that Twitter users have located a previous clip of the podcast hosts Myron Gaines and Walter Weeks discussing their dating preferences, which doesn't include black women. This comes following the viral moment of Asian Doll leaving the podcast early after her and Myron exchanged heated words. I'm going to play this real quick and then we're going to talk about it. Here we go.
It's funny, I never used that one, bro. What about the black dating app called Black? It's funny, I never used that one, bro, but hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
bro, I'm good.
You know, sometimes if they're, you know, red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, so last one, guys.
I am disgusted. Ugh. If y'all could see how much I'm rolling my eyes right now. Ugh. Disgusted.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
We don't dabble in the dark like that. Night Riders, Shaniquas, LaQuishas, shut the F-U-C-K up.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Shut up.
I didn't like that at all.
Oh, no. That has rubbed me the wrong way.
No, I understand.
I'm not cool with it.
I understand. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And here's the truth. I don't know Myron Gaines or Walter very well. I mean, I consider them friends as far as like me doing the YouTube thing. I've spoken to, I believe, Myron a few times. And if I was to give my honest perspective of this actual video, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think this could have been said a better way, I will say this. It's one thing to have preferences. Because here's the truth. I run into a lot of black women on YouTube who don't date black men. Their whole YouTube pages, YouTube channels, literally dedicated to shitting on black men and black women swirling and like doing their own thing. And I've always felt like, why? You know, I date mostly black women, right? I love black women. It's what I would rather prefer to date. But I'll tell you the truth. This is what that reminded me of. And before I go on, as a black woman, I want to know your take on hearing that. What did you think of that in specific? Just them talking about that.
You know, it hurts, not in the sense where it's just like, dang, they don't want me. More it's just like, wow, that's how you speak about black women. Like, damn, night riders.
So I want to clarify the night rider
Shaniquas.
thing. I want to clarify the night. And guys, listen to me. This I disagree with 100%, and I'm going to get into that more. I want to clarify the night rider thing. In other videos, I've heard them say night rider before. So for example, they'll ask women, what is your dating preference? And women will say, I like black men. And they'll say, oh, she's a night rider. And so the night rider thing is something that they use simultaneously for men and women. If you're hearing it for the first time, night rider sounds terrible.
It sounds disgusting.
No, I know.
It not like disgusting in a sense like, ugh, that's nasty, but it's just like, ew,
No.
like,
I got you.
ugh.
If you're hearing it out of
individual.
context of understanding the whole podcast, they'll have multiple women, and there's a lot of women, especially like women who aren't black, who say, I love black men, and they'll be like, oh, she's a night rider. It's something they use for women and men, just to clarify going forward. But keep going. I want to know what you thought of this, just because I'm curious.
Yeah, I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. And then for Fresh to, I mean, he didn't really say anything. He just really agreed to what everybody, you know, to what Myron was saying or whatever. He was being a little simp, following. That's what he was doing. You know, just like,
How you gonna do my?
You're self-hating. You're
How you gonna
self-hating,
do
my
my
brother.
man?
You're self-hating.
Why you gonna do my man Fresh like that? Why'd you call him out
You're-
specifically?
You know, because he's a black man with a black mom.
So you don't. So.
And I get that.
Myron
Hold on
isn't
one
black.
sec.
Okay,
And
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Not Myron. Fresh. Walter. I understand that everybody has their preferences. You don't have to date black women, but you're not going to pander to Myron's old racist just because you're on his show.
Chill, bro. Chill.
No, I don't like that. You're self-hating. You're self-hating simp. That's what you are, my brother. That's what you are.
Okay.
They gonna hear this and not like it.
I mean, it is what it is.
I did not
I also
like it. I was very highly upset. I
I'm
was
gonna keep it real,
disgusted.
man. I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't agree with this whole video, right? And here's the truth. You think like as a content creator, I've seen every video by Fresh and Fit. This specific video I haven't seen. When I heard
Me
it,
neither.
I immediately felt uncomfortable. That's just the honest truth. It reminded me of a few people I know. And when it comes to black men, right, who don't date black women, which is 100% okay, right? Because there are black women who don't date black men. That's cool. But when it comes to black men that don't date black women, there's two types. There's that one type who really has been around like different cultures and they're not tripping like that. You know what I mean? They've been raised around white people, just gonna keep it real. And they've dated mostly that. And, you know, they're not making any point for it. It's just what they like. And then there's the type of guy who doesn't date black women and wants everybody to know they don't date black women every time you ask him. I remember I had a friend, man. I had a friend, still a friend of mine, but he was black. And I remember him talking about black women and saying things like, kind of similar to this, like, oh, I don't date black women. And he would say borderline, I don't want to call it racist, but it was from a place of
Hate.
not hate,
disdain.
Because he loved his sisters. He had black sisters in his family, and he was so close to his family. That was the thing that effed me up, right? Is I'd see him like with his sister was like his best friend. They would talk all the time. There was some, disdain. There was some disdain towards black women. At one time, I actually called him out for it because I was like, hey, man, like, you talk about black women, because I mostly date black women. Black women slide into my DMs right now. No, let me not say that. I got a girl. Don't do that. I got a girl. I got a girl. Don't do that. I'm telling you right now. Don't do that.
DMs
She might find you.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I remember talking to him. I was like, man, like, what is it about black women? Every time you talk to him, I just feel like there's just some like strong disdain there. And he actually was receptive to the conversation, and he's like, yeah, man, I think you're right. And this was later. He had to think about it because I said it and things got awkward because, you hold people accountable. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And he came back later on and he was just like, man, I thought about what you said and I've been trying to figure out what that is. And he says, I don't know, man. He says, listen, when I was growing up, black women didn't really accept me. He said they made fun of me for not being black enough. They thought I was lame, such and such. And this was an individual who was actually like half black. His dad was black. His mom was white. Right. And I said, okay, I got it. I said, but man, I think that's a problem. I think that's something you have to fix. And that's what I thought in this situation. I date black women, but I would never, if someone asked me and said, oh, what about white women? I would never say, oh, you mean those pale ass bitches? You know what I mean? I'm not going to go in like that. I just don't feel the need to. And since I know I'm not going to do that, it makes me wonder, why would somebody else do that? Right? And that's what I thought when I was watching this specific video is this could definitely be handled a lot different. Right. And I disagree with the way this was handled. Hopefully they address this. I saw a post recently, Myron posted and said they're going to address everything on their page. I'm still friends with that guy.
I don't want to hear nothing that man has to say.
Listen, I'm still friends with that guy because he ended up kind of reflecting on the situation and came to terms that like he had a black sister. He had, his family was black and, and he's black. And he sat down and he thought about it and he said, maybe there is something wrong with the way I address that. Maybe there is something internal that I need to work on to stop looking at life that way. And maybe there's some stuff I need to work on for my past. You never know what that is. But I think we do a disservice to people when we don't want to have those difficult conversations, when we just write them off as this person is the problem and they need to be canceled. Because that's the culture we're living in right now, right? It's like, cancel these people at any cost. They're terrible. They're horrible people.
Let me say something.
Go ahead.
I think Myron's needs to get canceled.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to say this because me personally, there is something about Myron's spirit that does not sit right with me. I don't say that I don't like people very often. I don't know anything about this guy, but from what I can see and his arrogance, there's something not good about him that I just can't. Fresh him, I could, be like, all right, maybe we could talk to you and, things can maybe turn out a little bit different. I can forgive him maybe a little bit if he, things were to change for him. But Myron,
What is
that
it?
guy, unfortunately.
What is it? What do you think that it is?
I don't know. But there is something about that guy that I don't like. And I don't say that very often about people because that is, for me to say that I don't like someone, that is very heavy, that's deep. But Myron, nah. No. He's just a no in my book. Just ill. He's a disgusting individual to me. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are probably gonna be like, oh my God, you don't like Myron. You just don't like him because no, I respect his podcast. And I think that podcast, especially for men, on these men platform podcasts, I think they are very important for men to be able to go to and have conversations, because where else are they going to go to do that? I think they're wonderful.
Yeah.
I think all of these podcasts, that these platforms that men have to go to have conversations and to listen and to understand and to be able to talk and communicate with other men, I think that it is great. I don't think that podcast should be canceled. I don't even think that the Fresh and Fit podcast should be canceled. I don't.
You said,
but me,
you said Fit should be canceled, so that's Fresh and Fit.
Oh, sorry, Fresh and Fit should not be canceled. I don't think that.
So you don't think Myron should be canceled?
Personally, for me, I don't like him. Yes, but in the grand scheme of things, sure, he can stay around.
Gotcha. You're just kind of saying like the message is needed, but the messenger is not.
Correct.
Yeah, man. It's kind of the interesting thing about life. It's like you can't choose your messenger. You know, we live in a time right now where men need to have platforms to speak. They need to have platforms where they can speak their truth. And listen, I know like Fresh and Fit, they're not like super popular. They're probably just have as much haters as they do, if not more, people that enjoy their content. Right. But I don't want to see Fresh and Fit get taken down. I don't want to see people who I disagree with get taken down. I think we work with each other like that. Conflict is needed. Right. You need those super artistic, liberal people and those conservative people to hash things out. And that's how you produce a plan that's somewhat in the middle. Will it be perfect? No, but it'll be somewhat in the middle. And my problem with this whole thing, and this is me closing it out right now, is that there's people out there who can't see things the way you see them. You know, they may feel the same way, but they don't have a balanced view. Granted, you've been in this space for a while, Felicia. Like you've reacted to videos of like Kevin Samuels and like other videos I've done in the past. There's a lot of people out there who don't really understand what this space is truly about. Like they really haven't listened to what men are really saying. They just hear a bunch of angry men, and because of their female empowerment conditioning, they just hear that and they just go ape shit, right? They just lose their shit. Yeah. They're like, burn them all, destroy them, cancel him right immediately, right? I was reading that all over the Shade Room. Cancel culture, do your thing. Like people are pissed. A lot of people don't know these type of spaces exist for men, and they don't understand how they're surviving. And women, if you're a woman right now listening to this for the first time, let me tell you how people like the Fresh and Fit podcast are thriving and probably are not going anywhere. It's because there is no other place where a man can speak his truth, can say something that that might go against female empowerment other than a platform like YouTube. There's no other place. That's why a lot of these male-driven podcasts where men talk about masculinity, you know, you have the Jordan Peterson type who talk about like the 12 steps to life, 12 rules of life or something like that. Make your bed and like get your life in order. Why those are popular on platforms like YouTube is because no other platform will allow men to speak the honest truth. They will censor you. Not Instagram, not Twitter, not Facebook. For some reason, YouTube allows men to speak truth, right? And when I say truth, I'm talking about their truth, which sometimes may not be what's popular, but no one's perfect, right? I saw a recent post by a woman who is like one of these zealous women who's like, get rid of all men platforms. It's the worst thing to happen to black women, the black community. And she said, in my opinion, most black male-ran podcasts and channels were the worst thing to happen to black women. She goes on to say, I'm beyond sick every single time a dusty mop goes... That's kind of funny. A dusty mop goes viral from humiliating us. Why you gotta say it's so funny, Paris Milan? When will we get tired and stop participating in abuse? It's the problem. Like she's calling this abuse, right? Men having an opinion is abuse to women like this. And guys, you can think you want these people canceled, right? Men who are masculine, But what you're doing is really eliminating any potential of raising the type of men who will be accountable for their decisions, type of men who will be masculine men who embrace their masculinity, type of men who will not put women on a pedestal. They'll be intentional with their lives. There are good things that come from these type of podcasts. She goes on to say, why by giving them views, call in, showing up for the slaughter, right? Because they are getting slaughtered left and right. We're slaughtering these 3 or 4. She ends it by saying, your degradation is generating the millions while your image and safety continues to suffer the most. Painting male platforms as the problem. The second post I saw says, podcasts are one of the worst things to happen to the Black community. I'm so serious.
I do not agree with that statement at all.
And see, like, I don't agree with it either. And this is the problem. I think my biggest concern in this whole situation is that there are people out there who are going to use this situation, like, you know, with Myron Gaines and Fresh, with Fresh and Fit. They're going to use that situation as a reason to cancel all male-led platforms. And that's not going to solve anything. Getting rid of men who have a voice on social media is not going to solve anything. It's going to create problems. It's important the two people with two different views come together and discuss things and come to a conclusion. It's important that people hear new ideas, right? It's important that people are accountable and can admit when something is wrong. I didn't like that video of Myron and Walter talking about Black women like that. Why? Because, hey, I've used that app, right? I've used that app. And I've seen, you know what I mean? A nigga was on there slaying. Feel me? And all I'm saying is, I see nothing wrong with that app, but it's not about the app, people. I'm getting to a point here, which is basically that, like, you know, it's just interesting to me that, like, a platform like the Shade Room, and this is what I fear the most, right? That a platform like the Shade Room is only going to post about a platform like Fresh and Fit when it's advantageous to get rid of or paint a bad lens or a bad light on male platforms. That's the only time the Shade Room is going to post it. Why? Because, again, a Black woman owns the Shade Room. She probably isn't down with a lot of what happens on male-led platforms. She knows about Kevin Samuels. She knows about Fresh and Fit. But she's not going to post it when men are on there actually saying, hey, guys, you helped me fix my credit. Hey, guys, you helped me not chase women and instead chase the bag. Hey, guys, I started working out and improving my diet. They're not going to post any of that. What they're going to post are things like this. Why? Because there's a battle of the genders. And amongst all this, I want people to understand that, like, it's necessary for men to have platforms where they could speak.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. I do agree. I think there needs to be, because where else do men go? They don't go to therapy. I mean, they're starting to go now.
Hey,
but they don't go to therapy.
No.
They don't want to be vulnerable with, you know, with their boys. You know, everybody, they all got to be tough. Where else are they supposed to go to listen to this kind of stuff and actually have these type of conversations and be able to interact with these people? Where? Podcasts. I think it's, I've always thought that it was, you know, a great place. Men need a safe space too.
Mm-hmm.
They do. And
look at how hard it was for you to say that. You're like, men need a
it wasn't.
Men need a safe space
hard for
too.
me to, how? No. It was not hard for me to say that at all.
No, it wasn't.
It was very easy for me to say that.
And you know what? You're one of the more understanding, supportive ones, and it's just me giving you props. You know what I mean?
And even though Fit is not my favorite person in the world, it's a safe space for men to go and have conversations that need to be had. So.
Some men. Not all men are going to like Fresh and Fit. Not all men are going to like my platform. Not all men are going to like Fresh, Kevin Samuels, Abba and Preach. You know what I mean? But
there are a lot of different channels for men to search through. And Fresh and Fit just happened to be one of them.
Said with such love, said with such passion. You know, we really appreciate you, Felici. Hey guys, let us know what you thought of this podcast. We went into some depth here and some detail about this situation. And if you have anything to share, if you have any thoughts, let us know in the comment section down below. Listen, guys, subscribe to Felici. Subscribe to her YouTube page. We're trying to get her to 1,000. She's close. And also follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. As always, my name is Shisha Zed. Until next time, we're out. Peace.
Bye.